What's up, guys? It's Bilo Brown, and we're in all this process of trying to get t-shirt designs made and things like that, and just things going on in my life. I've had this thing on my mind a lot, and I often teach this to the students that I teach. And excuse me if my nose is all nasally. I had a cold in the summertime. You know how it is. Anyway, but there was this thing that's been on my mind. And it's something that I deal with a lot, and it's something I learned, and it's something I actually failed at growing up, and I didn't actually learn this until after I left high school, which is the funny thing, because that was the one place this would be probably most helpful. Everyone has to be at least a teacher to one person. A teacher at least one time, and that is you. You have to be the teacher to yourself. Now, I know that may sound so mystical and so self-help, but let me say something. Let me explain that really quick. So, the thing I learned after I left high school was that, first off, I loved learning. I just didn't always like learning what people were shoving down my throat or anything at the time. I didn't like math and stuff like that, the cliche stuff. I found that when there was something I didn't know, I could go learn it. The problem wasn't that I wasn't able to figure out something. The problem was that I didn't know how I could learn. So the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is because you have to be at least a teacher to one person, and that is to yourself. Because if you know how you learn, which you're the only person who's going to know that besides God, right? If you know how you learn, then you can teach yourself something that you don't know. Why is that important? Well, that's because I've grown up in life, and I've met a lot of people my age, and definitely way younger than me, and some people older than me half the time. And when they don't know something, they just leave it there. They just don't know it, and they leave it at the fact that they don't know something. And that's heartbreaking, because they are often asking for help, and some of the ways that you fuel procrastination is if you do that. You fuel your procrastination by not learning how to do something, so you're waiting on someone else the whole time. You're like, well, I'll get to it when so-and-so can get to it so they can help me, right? But that, like I said, that causes procrastination. That makes you not eventually do anything. And I learned really quick, I should not make myself dependent on anyone but God. Now, there are times when you are to be dependent on people, dependent on family and things like that. But there is a degree of that when it becomes a problem, when it hurts more than helps. And that's what I just wanted to share with you guys and tell you, you need to learn this fact. Because I'll give you an example. I have students who, they come to me all the time. We use a time when they were going to look up scriptures. And I was like, hey guys, we're going to do this thing where you can look up scriptures, okay? You put them on clothespins, and then you'll clothespin somebody with it, and then later they won't even know it's there, or clothespin their book bag or something. And when they see it, they're like, oh, okay, and maybe they'll look at the scripture, maybe they won't. But I had them do that, right? And when I had them doing that, they couldn't find scripture, some of them. Some of them would be like, well, what's a good scripture to use? And I'm like, I didn't even give you limitations. I told you to just find a scripture that you wanted to use, and you use it. So whatever you want, right? They didn't care. That was not what was on their mind. They were like, no, but I need one. Like, I need some. Like, they have to have it set up for them. And that's something that we see in popular videos all the time about how, the school system has made people so dependent on not only just the government, but upon everybody else. We're so dependent on someone else laying it all out for us, and all we have to do is fill in the blanks, or to do this and do that and do that. And so it creates that mindset of, if you don't tell me what to do, I'll never know what to do. But the people who get paid the most and do successful in life are the ones that are problem solvers. But how can you solve problems if you don't know how to, right? So I figured out when I didn't know something, I needed to go learn it. So I went out of my way to go learn it. And that's something I just wanted to say really quick to you guys. Look, you've got to stop relying on other people, and you got to stop. If you don't know something, it should bother you enough that you go and figure out how to do it. Especially since if you know how to do it, not only does it add to your skill set and make people, does it build your resume even sometimes, but you don't have to depend on anybody but God, and you get more out of life, I would say, when you go and you learn something. It's just been a life-changing thing for me, and it's something I want to let you guys in on. And I know I'm not some guy, I'm not Ty Lopez or anybody else claiming to be successful, but I've learned that a lot of my problems in life and a lot about my life changed when I realized that we live in an age, by the way, of education is everywhere. People are sharing everything they know, but we don't live in an age where people want to learn. And so you should find out what interests you, what you're passionate about, or what your needs are even, and go figure out how to accomplish it, or to at least make it to where you only have to depend on people when you might not have the resources, or something that would actually be reasonable, not just simply because you don't have that skill set. Because there are some things that even YouTubers, that they say don't even go to college for it because it was a waste of their money and their time. So if they went out that way to say that, there's only two things. Either they're lying, which you have to explain the motive if they're lying. Why would they even lie about that? Maybe so they're the only ones in that field, but they're not the only ones in that field. And they're YouTubers making money off YouTube a lot more than they are doing whatever business or whatever they were going to school for. So it's out of the question. But anyway, or they're telling the truth. Okay, that's the second thing. They're probably telling the truth, and they're wanting to help people because they care about people. Even if they don't believe in God, they are at least trying to be helpful to the fellow human beings. And so I respect that. Even if they don't believe in Jesus Christ, I still respect that. So they do that. Why do you think they're doing that? They're not doing that for no reason. So we live in an age where literally education's at your fingertips. You can find and figure out anything that you need to figure out. So don't let that go to waste. Don't let that be your failure because you didn't want to take advantage of the time that we live in and the skills that you can learn, and how you can just be better well-rounded and better yourself just by simply learning. Knowledge is power, they say, and knowledge does bring about pride, so be careful of that. But use that knowledge for your betterment.